My transphobic girlfriend found out my roommate was trans and threatened to break up if I didn't kick him out. So I broke up with her. AITA. I'm a 22-year-old guy, and about 6 months ago, I got a new roommate, Alex, who's 23. When he moved in, I didn't think twice about his appearance or any details of his past, nor did it cross my mind that he might be trans. It wouldn't have mattered to me anyway. I just needed a roommate who would be respectful and pay rent on time, which Alex has done without issue. He's a shorter guy, around 5 feet 5 inches or 165 centimeters, with a fair amount of facial hair and muscles. He actually reminds me a bit of a shorter Henry Cavill, if you could picture that. No one else in my life has commented on him looking unusual in any way, including friends and family who've visited. And honestly, if anyone had noticed, my mom would have been the first to say something, given that she's deeply homophobic. Her reaction is typically intense if she even suspects something, but Alex never set off any alarms. Since he's moved in, Alex and I have gotten along fine. We're polite, although I wouldn't say we're exactly close friends. Still, he's a considerate and chill roommate. He's quiet, respectful, and always contributes to the household chores. Plus, he's never late with rent and has even shared his cooking a few times, which has been a great perk. This whole setup has been a breath of fresh air, especially since my previous 3 roommates were all varying degrees of a nightmare. Between their drama and constant issues with payments, they put me through the ringer, so Alex's presence here is a relief. Things, however, took a turn the day my girlfriend Sarah came over. Sarah is 28, and we'd been together for about 5 years. She came by the apartment unexpectedly, and it slipped my mind to let Alex know she was stopping by. Alex was walking around shirtless, and she happened to notice the scars on his chest. She didn't say anything immediately, but I could tell she was a bit withdrawn and quiet for the rest of her visit, which wasn't like her. Later, when Sarah got home, she sent me a barrage of texts asking why I had a female living with me. I was completely taken aback. When I asked what she meant, she said she recognized Alex's chest scars as being from top surgery and claimed this confirmed he was trans, and that, according to her logic, he had to be born female. She even threw in his height as evidence, saying his shorter stature must mean he was born female. I tried to reason with her, explaining that Alex's gender was irrelevant to me, and that, even if he was trans, I didn't find him attractive in any way. I told her that to any objective person looking at him, Alex would simply appear to be a typical guy. He's polite, keeps to himself, and isn't involved in any drama, which again, she knows has been a huge improvement compared to my previous roommates. Yet despite this, she just kept going, insistent that I had to confront him about his gender. To make matters worse, Sarah didn't just stop at asking me to verify if Alex was trans. She demanded that I either ask him outright, or if I refused, provide his last name so she could run a background check on him. Both of these requests felt wildly invasive to me, and I couldn't fathom how she thought this was appropriate. Her persistence made me increasingly uncomfortable, and it was clear she wasn't going to let it go. When I refused to give her Alex's personal information or confront him about his scars, she gave me an ultimatum. Either I find out for certain if Alex is trans and evict him if he is, or else she'd need to reevaluate our relationship. She essentially threatened to break up if I didn't comply. I've always had one unbreakable rule in relationships. I don't do ultimatums. I've been willing to compromise on many things, but I've always made it clear that ultimatums are a line I won't cross. Even though Sarah and I have been together for 5 years, I wasn't willing to make an exception this time. So I told her that if she couldn't accept my stance, then we were done. After our breakup, Sarah's response was intense. For over 2 weeks now, she's been relentlessly messaging me every day, despite my attempts to block her on every platform. She's ranged from accusatory messages such as, "Are you sleeping with him?" to pleas like, "Can we just talk?" She's even tried to bring in mutual friends, asking them to intervene or convince me to at least ask Alex about his gender so she can have closure. Fortunately, most of our friends want nothing to do with the drama, but it's been exhausting dealing with her attempts to get others involved. At first, I didn't feel any guilt about ending things, as the ultimatum was a boundary I'd always made clear. But after sharing my story online, I started receiving mixed feedback. Some people told me I should have just asked Alex about his gender to keep the peace or questioned why I would choose a roommate of only 6 months over a girlfriend of 5 years. I started wondering if maybe I had been too harsh and if I should have done something to avoid this whole ordeal. Too long to read. My now ex-girlfriend became convinced my roommate was trans, demanded that I either verify it and evict him or provide his information for a background check. When I refused, she gave me an ultimatum, so I broke up with her. Now I'm questioning if I could have handled things better. AITA? Edit. Answering some common questions. Did you break up with her? Yes. We officially broke up through text when she gave me the ultimatum. I've always maintained a rule that I don't tolerate ultimatums, no matter the situation. While I've overlooked other issues in the relationship, even some verbal and minor physical incidents, I couldn't overlook this. Our ages? I was 17, and she was 22 or 23 when we started dating, right on my 17th birthday. I realize the age gap sounds questionable in hindsight, but at the time, it seemed normal to us. We grew up together, as her mom and mine are best friends. Our friendship turned romantic when I was 15 or 16, but we waited until I was legally of age before we acted on it. Why be with someone like that? I didn't initially see her reaction as transphobic. I assumed it was jealousy, but after reading some comments, I realized it was deeper than that. Growing up in the Bible Belt, I didn't even know much about trans issues until I was in my late teens. I believe that a person's gender identity is their business, not mine. Is Alex trans? I honestly didn't know. His scars could have been from any number of surgeries, and I never felt it was my place to ask. Still, I never thought to question his masculinity just because he's shorter than average. Is Alex safe? I've spoken with Alex about the situation and taken steps to ensure safety in our building. I changed my gate code, put Sarah on the do not allow list for my apartment, and let our landlord know to be cautious. I feel confident that he won't have to deal with any further fallout. Was there abuse in the relationship? Some people asked if I'd experienced abuse with Sarah. She's insulted me at times and occasionally slapped or shoved me, but it was never to the point of drawing blood. While some may see this as minor, I now recognize that it was problematic. Why use centimeters if you're American? I have a few friends from college who use the metric system, and over time, I've picked up the habit. It's stuck with me, especially since we're all in automotive engineering. The photo of scars? I mentioned scars to give context, but I would never post an actual photo of Alex. I simply found an image of gynecomastia scars online that looked similar to his and thought it might help with clarity. Why not ask Alex? Respect is a big reason. I wouldn't want to be asked about my own scars if I were in his position. Also, my mom has scars and hates when people ask about them, so I figured it was best not to intrude. Update. After much consideration, I decided to have an open conversation with Alex. I told him about the breakup and clarified that I didn't care about his gender. I also reassured him that I'd taken steps to ensure his safety. Alex was understanding and even asked if I was okay, showing how considerate he is. It turns out he's been seeing me as a close friend this whole time, which made me realize we have different definitions of close. Alex then shared that he is trans-masc, had top surgery at 19, and has been on hormones since 18. His openness made me feel more at ease, although it doesn't change anything about our dynamic. Alex has also given me resources for low-cost therapy options, as he's aware of how complicated this has been for me. I've realized through this process that I deserve better treatment and higher standards in my relationships, and I plan to work on myself moving forward. The landlord and I are on the same page about protecting Alex's privacy, and I feel confident in the steps we've taken to keep things safe for him here.